All right, today we're building the modern playbook for self-storage. If you're looking for that extra edge in what's become a really competitive market, well, you are in the right place. You know, the easy days are officially over. In the self-storage world, the whole market has shifted, and that old idea of passive ownership, it just doesn't cut it anymore. Success today really demands active management and a laser focus on operations. So, here's our game plan. We're going to start with reality check on the new market. Then, we'll dive deep into mastering that customer journey, solving some of those classic tenant headaches, boosting your bottom line, and finally, we'll chart the path to ownership. Okay, so what does this new reality actually mean for you day to day? Well, it means that every single interaction, every tiny operational detail carries so much more weight now. And all of it, every single thing, starts with your customer. And that brings us right to the customer journey. Why start here? Because a seamless, easy experience for your customer, that's the absolute bedrock of a profitable facility, period. And you know what's wild? Look at these common failures. They're so simple to fix, yet you see them all the time. The best thing you can do is put yourself in your customer's shoes, literally. Walk your property. If you drove up wanting to rent a unit, would it be completely obvious what to do next? Think about this for a second. It sounds like a simple question, right? But the answer, that's what reveals the true financial stakes of everything you do, day in and day out. To really get the cost of that missed call, you have to know your customer's lifetime value, or LTV. It's not just 1 month's rent. It's the total revenue you can expect from that one person over time. This number completely changes how you see the value of every single lead. And here's what that can look like. For a facility with long-term tenants, a single customer can be worth over $6,000. That is what's at stake. That's what you're leaving on the table with every missed opportunity. Okay, now let's get into the weeds and tackle two of the biggest operational headaches out there: managing on-site employees and dealing with delinquent tenants, especially when you're taking over a new facility. You know, the whole debate over providing housing for managers, it's a tricky one. On one hand, yeah, it's great for security. But on the other, you're suddenly a landlord, and that can open up a huge can of worms with legal risks and potential eviction nightmares. So here's the bottom line. If you're going to have an on-site manager, you absolutely have to protect your asset with crystal clear, legally sound agreements. Your employment contract needs an ironclad lease tied directly to it. No exceptions. Now, when you're taking over a property that's, let's say, a bit of a mess, with bad records and lots of delinquent tenants, you need a system. This plan right here ensures you've done everything by the book before you even think about an auction. This is the documentation that lets you sleep at night. All right, now for the fun part. The single most effective way to pump up your property's value is by raising rates on existing tenants. But there's always one big fear that holds operators back. And this is it. The number one fear that paralyzes owners: if I raise my rates, is everyone just going to pack up and leave? But here's the thing. The experience from seasoned operators, the people who've done this dozens of times, it tells a completely different story. That mass exodus, it's a myth. Self-storage is driven by life events, and for most people, the hassle of moving is way worse than a reasonable rate increase. And the math, well, the math is just simple. The revenue you gain from the 97% of tenants who stay completely dwarfs the loss from the tiny handful who leave. It's a massive boost to your bottom line and your property's value. So when do you know it's time to be aggressive? Well, if you're hitting these marks, you've got high occupancy, tons of calls for the units that are full, and your current tenants are way below market, especially during peak season, that's not just a sign, that's a giant flashing green light to make a move. Okay, for our last section, let's shift gears and talk to those of you who are looking to get into the market or maybe expand your portfolio. How do you get that investor's edge? Now, for an experienced investor, getting a job as a site manager, it's probably not the most effective path. Honestly, your time is much, much better spent building relationships with top-tier operators and managers. And one of those key relationships is with your third-party manager. Their value proposition is incredibly simple. They should be making you more money than you're paying them. If they aren't, you've got the wrong manager. So, this is the playbook for a smart entry. You leverage the expertise of others to make better decisions, and you align with partners who know how to execute. Ultimately, if you take one thing away from all of this, let it be this. Success in modern self-storage really boils down to a fundamental shift in your mindset. You are not just a landlord, you are an active manager of a retail business. And that really leaves us with just one final thought. Take a hard look at your own operations, your customer journey, and your rates, and then ask yourself this really critical question.